Hello, everybody on my end. Just take a few minutes while you guys joining in. Hello, Pig's Dream. Hello, Elliot Davies. Hello, Slippery Man Bean. I like your name. We're just gonna take a few seconds. Hello, Carrie. Lurk. Lurk away. Hello, Bianca. All right. Don't worry about it. My chat is used to technical difficulties. Take your time. Hello, friendo. Listen, guys, at least I solved the color bars thing. All I had to do is find my old cable. It's fine now. You are technical difficulty, Carrie. How's that? Trick is live, but it's a black screen. There we go. Now it's working. Hello, Patrick's chat. Are you there? Awesome. Pig's Dream, whom can't you hear? Pig's Dream, let me know whom you can't hear. Patrick, we can't hear Patrick. Can we hear Brendan? This could be me, my fuck. Am I the only person whom you can hear? Guys, let me know. Can't hear either. That's good. It's gonna...
They can only hear you.
That's good.
Brandon is silent.
Can
only hear you.
That's good.
Brandon is silent.
Oh, that's weird. So I went to... I pulled up your stream. I could hear Patrick.
On Patrick's stream or on my own?
On yours.
So I went
And I could hear myself on your stream too. I just pulled it up on my phone.
That's weird.
So I
That's
could hear
interesting.
everybody when I pull up the stream. So I don't know.
All my chat says that they can only hear me.
What?
They now can hear everybody though. So that's fine. I just edited the thing.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right,
So,
cool.
yeah. Everything's good. All right, guys, listen. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna do this thing for no other reason than have some fun at an expense of a silly little boy. But we're gonna take him incredibly seriously, and we're gonna try to, I don't know, address his gibberish as charitably as possible. So let's do that.
So I'll just give some backstory to people.
Yeah.
He is a very big name in the carnivore, whatever it is, a cult or I don't know, the carnivore. Yeah,
Let's
diet,
be charitable, Patrick, and call it a community.
carnivore community, and he was right a few years ago. He was promoted by a lot of the carnivore community. He was going on podcasts. I think his first the first time he got he did an interview was with Dr. Bart Kay, who has got a little bit of an attitude. I don't know if you
Just
guys
a little
know.
bit. Just a little bit of an attitude.
And so it's been coming, I guess. 2 years, and now we've got I don't know how long he's been carnivore, but I first heard about him maybe a couple of years ago, and I saw he did a debate with the Nutrivore.
So that's what I was going to say. I don't remember him being so big. Like, I remember him doing a debate with Nutrivore. And I was like, okay, it's just some kid who like does carnivore. I didn't know he was so like prominent in that community. I just thought he was some random dude who wanted to debate, but interesting. I didn't know.
You debated him?
So it
Brandon?
was the
No.
Nutrivore,
Oh, yeah.
Nick.
Yeah.
And it didn't go too good for him, but I think he still continued eating animals after the debate, but
I mean,
now
he
we've
still
got the
does,
white.
supposedly, right? Unless,
Yeah.
don't tell us, don't spoil it. If he became plant-based, I want to find out organically.
Who knows? Yeah, let's have a look.
All right.
Enjoy the show, guys.
All right. Oh, just before, he was used to be called Carnivore Camaraderie, wasn't he? His channel.
Yeah.
When
It
do
was
you know when
Carnivore
he changed the name? Do you know?
I don't know, maybe about a year ago or less than a year ago, I saw one time he popped up in my Twitter feed and he was promoting something something pseudo-scientific, and it was under the name Joey Schwartz. And then, I don't know the exact timestamp, but yeah, maybe less than a year.
Would be interesting to find out, because that usually correlates with stopping being a carnivore, or when people start taking away the name of their community out of their YouTube name. That's when we have to start worrying, don't we? All right, so let's begin.
So I want to make a video on why I quit the carnivore diet, and you all know that I'm not doing it anymore, and I've alluded to it in every video. I have made what I eat in a day, which clearly includes plants, but I haven't given a full, thorough breakdown on YouTube as to why I quit, exactly what my thought process was, how I was doing throughout that entire period, and just general things like that I feel like have been glossed over, and I should definitely hone in on, especially as carnivore gets more popular, and as I just see it more and more on the internet. But so let's go back to where it all started, right? It all started back in my senior year of high school, where I wasn't feeling too good. I was tired a lot. I was getting those afternoon crashes, and I was like, okay, you know what? I need to find something different. And so I ended up finding carnivore. I did carnivore for like 2 years. And this is when I was...
Just a little nitpick. It's really funny to me. I ended up finding carnivore. They say carnivore as it's supposed to, like, mean something to everybody. Not the carnivore diet, not the carnivore community, not the carnivore science. It's just carnivore. Like, that's it.
And also, I was going to say also, like, he's referring to a specific diet. That's like saying that you found Weight Watchers or so, like it's just referring to like a certain diet intervention. It's not any type of, there's no meaning beyond just like how you're eating. So yeah, that's really funny. That's interesting.
I actually might disagree a little bit, because they do end up attributing a lot of lore to this diet, like the whole ancestral, natural bullshit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But this Ex-Carnivore has a very nice setting. I'll just add.
Yeah,
that
it's
is nice. That is nice. I want to be where he is.
Do we know where he's from? Because I want to vacation there.
Maybe 16 or 17? 17. And I was still growing, developing, getting stronger, bigger, taller. And what I thought was the carnivore diet enhancing every single aspect of my life is like, especially when in athletic performance, I was getting really good at soccer, but I was also playing every single day. So it kind of makes sense why I was getting better.
Can I add something?
But anyway.
So he said that he was playing soccer every day and he was getting better. And a lot of people, particularly in the carnivore community, it seems they don't really understand how causality works. So, and it can go in either way. For example, someone could be getting an illness and then a flare-up, or for example, if someone has Crohn's disease, they could be getting a natural flare-up, and then they, at the same time, just before their flare-up, they eat a specific food, and they don't sort of verify the causality, whether that's actually a cause, and then they attribute the whole flare-up to whatever they ate. So it's just strange that, yeah.
That's the problem with anecdotes and trusting your own intuition/feelings for this kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't control for any other factors. Like I always love, since I've been doing more carnivore reaction videos, I'll get comments from them saying like, there's nothing more reliable than your own experience. It's like people are so like psychologically, there's so many things that could be going on that there's a lot of other things more reliable than your individual experience. So just funny that that's what they value over anything else, which is crazy to me.
I mean, even
and they all-
physically,
yeah.
you could have two independent things happen in your body. And you can attribute all the problems to one of them, but there is actually another thing going on.
Yeah, 100%.
And they also don't know that you cannot really, for long-term diseases such as heart disease, you cannot feel the progression of plaque in your arteries.
Yeah, that's decades down the line. That's the thing is like, these people are like, well, I don't have any symptoms. Everything's fine, but they're not 60, 70, 80, you know? I don't want to die from a heart attack at any age, even if it's 70, you know?
But back to what he was saying, usually if you do something every day, regardless of what you're eating, you might tend to get better at it because, practice.
Expect. Brandon, can you move your mic just a tiny bit out of further? Yeah, there you go. You clip it a little bit.
Okay.
Right.
Is this better?
Oh, I don't know. The audience will tell us, but the indication looks better.
All right, cool.
I thought that the carnivore was this miracle drug. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the power of the mind.
The carnivore again, it just kills me. I'm sorry, I'm a word nerd, and it's just baffling to me.
Shouldn't ever be doubted. You can convince yourself of anything, any diet. This is why some vegans can actually survive, right? Nobody survives on a vegan.
I'd like to add that, first of all, I don't know what people mean when they mean the vegan diet, because there's so many different infinite diets compatible with vegan ethics. And back to the point about the carnivore, you said, you don't see these carnivores, acting like carnivores in any way. You don't see them biting out of carcasses.
Yeah.
Any diet. This is why some vegans can actually survive, right? Nobody survives on a vegan diet if they think it's bad for them. That would be the number one thing that would fuck them up. But I thought carnivore was the answer for everything.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was going to say that, I mean, there is some truth to that, right? If you're like implementing intervention that you're convinced is bad for you, I mean, you're going to have maybe a lot of factors that are, or like, what is it called? Symptoms that you're experiencing that aren't really there.
Psychosomatic.
Yeah,
I have them all the time. I'm really familiar with it.
Exactly, right. So if you're like, and I feel like that's what starts to happen with these ex-vegans or ex-plant-based eaters is they will feel good because they think that they should be feeling good. And then they'll start hearing about how you need cholesterol, how you need eggs and fish and all these things. And then they'll start having psychosomatic symptoms are not always, some of them are just malnourished or because of a lack of calories. But I feel like sometimes you could see that for sure.
And there's a thing called, I think it's nocebo, where when you think you're doing something detrimental to your health, you then actually start feeling as if you've got some symptoms. And to his point, where it's difficult to survive on, he said vegan diet, but we can say diets compatible with vegan ethics. There's hundreds of thousands, more than 110,000 nutritionists, dietitians, and the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. They made the consensus statement that vegan diets or diets compatible with vegan ethics can be healthy for all stages of life and may even prevent the onset of certain diseases. So I'd like to know what sort of evidence he has for the claim that a vegan diet is difficult to sustain, but no evidence cited.
None.
That would be the number one thing that would fuck them up. But I thought carnivore was the answer for everything. And so I attributed every single good thing in my life to carnivore, and it got a little bit out of control when I started to realize that I actually wasn't as healthy as I thought. I wasn't as strong as I thought, and I was actually kind of suffering. I didn't talk about this publicly, but I did some blood tests, and like there were definitely results in there that weren't very good.
I mean, have we seen?
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, but have we seen those blood results? Because I bet even right now he can't admit that having LDL 320 or something, some crazy shit like that, is in any way detrimental, is it?
I would say that if his LDL cholesterol or something related to bad cardiometabolic health was elevated, or he wouldn't. The carnivores, they sort of deny high cholesterol, high APA. So it might be, something to do with testosterone or something like this. If I had to put money on what was his biomarker, it might have been like, I would bet money on testosterone, because that's something which would scare someone young or someone who thinks their carnivore diet is the key to optimal health.
He's probably,
I agree.
Sorry, he probably cherry-picked which tests he did, didn't he?
Well, he probably, because I think he's still probably an LDL denier, right? Usually these carnivore people, they don't turn their back on that, but he probably did. He's probably talking about some other blood marker, right? Testosterone, I agree with Patrick. I think that's probably the one that scared him, for sure.
Yeah, that seems likely to me as well, frankly. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And since then, they've gotten insanely good, like insane, like top percentages. But it was fucked at one point. And I didn't talk about this, and I don't know. Maybe I'll go into it more. Like I'll show the actual data at some point. But for now, I'm just gonna. You guys are just gonna have to take my word for it, because I've been super transparent my whole time online. I'm not here to lie to anyone or just convince anyone that something is wrong that's right, or something that's right that's wrong. I'm just trying to be honest and tell my own story. And so carnivore was fucking me up, basically. Like in short, like that's the truth. It was really messing me up. And in retrospect, it kind of makes sense why. My family was not a low carb family by any means. Like our ancestry is not low. Like nothing about me should be low carb at all, right?
Which ancestry, except I don't know, the Inuit, low carb, and why does it matter? Patrick, can you please?
Yeah, I don't like to get into these games of who should I eat like, or
Dude, it's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Like imagine a panda said, well, my ancestry is eating flesh, then I'm just gonna die off because there is no flesh around me, so I'm just gonna die off and not try to eat something else. Or I don't know, I don't know why it's convincing to people this ancestry crap. Like, in what way is either taxonomic classification or ancestry prescribes any kind of a diet? I don't get it. I mean, how many changes would you actually have in your composition between high carb and low carb if your ancestry is leaning that way or that way throughout the ages? I don't know.
But they have this idea that our ancestors were in some form of optimal health, which you need to aspire to, but it's not actually clear if our ancestors were in the optimal health form that they could achieve. So why didn't they just look at health outcome data in our current population, which they always ignore? They ignore the data looking at people in our settings.
Yeah, I guess there is a common saying that everybody is a little different. I think that's more convincing to people than, no, we're kind of the same. I mean, some people have some reactions to some foods. Basically, our physiology is kind of the same, isn't it, Patrick? I don't know much about this. That's why I'm referring to you all the time.
So we talked about this yesterday with Brandon. There's a common theme. There's some differences. Some people might have allergies or to a specific component within a food, such as some people may have celiac disease, whereas in general, gluten-containing products are pretty healthy, health-promoting. And so there's a general theme: more plants, more fiber, not too much food, not too much calories, and not overeating, and less saturated fat, more plant protein. And he also said, I just want to share my story. A common theme, even among the ex-vegans who release their videos, it's all about my story, my journey. They never talk about really the victims or, yeah, it's always just about them. This is what I feel I see coming up as a general theme. I don't know if you two agree with that.
Well, I wasn't even expecting that. I wasn't even expecting him acknowledging anything about the victims of her, because nobody ever does.
It would be nice, though, for one time to get someone say, you know, I'm an ex-carnivore because I discovered that I'm logically inconsistent.
Well, it sounds like he's still eating animals. I definitely don't think he's plant-based. He's definitely eating animals, probably just added some fruit or added some carbs in, like Paul Saladino. But I was going to say, I love how all these videos, they're like, you know, maybe I'll show the blood tests or the data, but for now, just take my word for it. Why don't you just show it right away? Like, why don't you just make one video, show all the evidence, and then be done with it? You know, they always like to be vague and not actually provide any evidence. And then I was going to mention, I lost it. He did the blood test, and what were you just? Oh, isotopes. Yeah. So I always love how they only go back hundreds of thousands of years for diet, but nothing else. They're fine with their insulated homes. They're happy with their antibiotics. They're happy with their modern medicine, cars, computers, everything. They are happy to take advantage of. And most of the things we've invented, yeah, especially with medicine and healthcare, it's to prolong our life, right?
Yeah,
that's why they got invented.
Look at all those cushions behind him. So ancestral, for fuck.
Right. So that's the thing, is they only apply this, like, oh, what did our ancestors do for diet? That's it. And it's just completely inconsistent. Like, why would you recognize, okay, we are able to invent new things, have more advantages now that we didn't have hundreds of thousands of years ago for everything else except diet? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I think
And to your point, yeah.
No,
go ahead. I was just going to add to your point about being vague. I don't really know what carnivore means, because even the leaders of the carnivore movement, for example, Sean Baker, he admits that he likes cake on occasion. So I don't know what is their definition of carnivore, because they all seem to have some sort of plant still in their diet, even the ones who seem to be the most aggressively promoting the movement.
Yeah, and your point as well, Brandon, like, why would they say, well, my body will, I don't know, conditioned, I guess, through ancestry to eat this certain way? We're even going to disregard that's bullshit. But let's just say, okay, they are convinced that our ancestors only meat, and that's the best appropriate diet for our body that came from our ancestors. Haven't changed the lick since then, I guess. But then they buy a sofa. Our ancestors had their asses on grass or something. Guys, this is too soft. You're making yourself into soy boys when you sit on a sofa. Seriously.
Right, our bodies are preconditioned to have our faces in the mud, so that's what we should do for eternity.
Yeah, bro. Well, I'm sure my ancestors died of all kinds of infections. I'm sure I'm trying not to get there. All right, let's continue. Oops.
Right, my grandparents, it's lots of breads, it's lots of potatoes, obviously organic, you know, like high quality stuff, fruits. And my family all has sweet tooths. It didn't make sense, looking back, for me to thrive on a low carb diet. But I was doing carnivore not because of what my recent ancestors did, but because I thought that way back in time, you know, like Homo sapiens, like after Australopithecus was eating fruit, grabbing from the trees, that okay, we were carnivores, right? Like we've been carnivores for 1 million years. Why on earth would I eat plants that haven't been around until the agricultural revolution, which was just a tiny fraction of our existence?
I don't know, because of health data. Yeah, I was going to say, because peer-reviewed evidence shows we have great health outcomes when we eat plants. That's like a great reason to do it. I can't think of a better reason to eat plants.
Yeah, and more to the point, nothing like it was before. Nobody like it was when our ancestors or whatever the fuck. The cows are not the same, sweetie, darling, Joey. I mean, the cows are, I don't know, in some cases genetically modified, but like selectively bred and all that shit.
Mhm.
I guess you could say that his specific cows did that stuff, or B12 supplementation, and they went on grass. I wonder if he ever addresses how, in a pinch, he would go to McDonald's probably.
And he mentioned the words organic. All of these people, they also have an obsession towards organic. Organic really doesn't mean much, as we talked about this in the stream yesterday. Organic still uses, pesticides as well, and fertilizer. And overall, just look at the health outcome data. Even any sort of fruit and vegetables are health promoting. There's just obsession with some sort of pure food and some pure diet, which is just creating lots of stress for people.
I mean, altogether, it's a bit obsessed, and I don't know. It just seems even like on a psychological level, a bit unhealthy. And I used to be a little bit like that, but not too much. I think since going vegan, before vegan, my diet was absolutely horrendous. It really totaled into about 800 calories of food and then like 600 or 700 calories of beer. But but since going vegan, I was a little bit more conscious of it, and it's just makes no sense. Like if you follow some kind of a moral stance, yeah, you probably should exclude a bunch of stuff from your diet. But you are looking for this perfect health. How would you even know? You growing up, you growing old, you interact with the world. How would you know even what a diet does to you until it's like in your 40s and 50s and shit?
Yeah, there's so many factors. There's so many other variables. And I find, and I kind of want to do either a stream of this or like some kind of video, because I feel like a lot of these ex-vegans or ex-plant-based eaters, they either have disordered eating to begin with, or they're hypochondriacs, where they always think that something's off. Oh, my digestion was a little weird today, so it must be the diet. Oh, I'm getting sick sometimes, so it must be the diet. Or so they always think something's off and are looking for perfection. So I think that's really important to talk about, because I think, especially like I was talking to Patrick yesterday about early veganism with like Durian Rider and Freely the Banana Girl and all of these people. They were like either had really bad disordered eating or were like hypochondriacs looking for like healing, And I think it's a really slippery kind of trap to fall into.
Patrick?
No, I'll just add that there can be all sorts of disordered eating. I saw a recent paper where there was like 5 case studies, and there was one of the case study was someone just eating an all meat diet, and then there was another case study. The last case study was someone who just had an obsession with only eating plants that were completely unprocessed. So it can go in all forms, but yeah. Obviously, veganism has got some dietary entailments, but you can have whatever you want with, as long as you're not supporting the exploitation of sentient beings. And you can have, sometimes it might even be helpful to have a snack here and there, something which you want. It might even be beneficial for your health.
You know what? I had a thought the other day. What we should do as the vegan community is decide to find all the raw vegans and find all the carnivores and just stick them together on social media and just walk away. Just stop dealing with that shit. The carnivores are not our problem. The raw vegans are a little bit. They're ruining our fucking rep. But if they're fighting each other, maybe, maybe all of them become omnivores again and leave us the fuck alone. I don't know. It's a terrible take.
No, I think awareness is number one, and yeah, I mean, and all of this is separate from the moral argument for veganism, like, or what veganism is, right? This is just comparing plant-based nutrition to like all meat nutrition, and I can't even believe there's a comparison. They have zero evidence when we're talking about carnivore diets, and even all the people in the carnivore community, they say, "Oh, the studies are coming." Sean Baker in his debate, he said they're coming, or no, in one of his videos, he's like, "Don't worry, guys, the research is coming." It's like, okay, but you're just gonna go with it? Like you're gonna go with it before you see the research? That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Listen,
he
everything that
raised a
said
lot.
Sean what's his name? Sean Baker says on social media is for entertainment. So you should disregard it, laugh at it, and call him a clown, and that's it. That's what I'm doing.
God, I can't believe he said that on. I can't believe he said that. That was just
embarrassing.
Insane.
All right, let's continue.
Crazy.
Otherwise, sorry.
I was going to say he's raised thousands of dollars for a study, and it's all seemed to just gone to some sort of platform called Revero online, some sort of health coaching platform, and where is the study? Nobody knows, and he admitted
literal
that.
Trust me, bro. It's the literal trust me, bro, and pay for it as well.
Crazy.
And I think the little disclaimer in the debate with Gareth Davis was, I don't know. It's just to say, if something happens to you, I'm not to blame. I think he's got some guilty conscience there somewhere inside him, telling him,
hopefully.
I don't know about that, frankly. I think he's much more social media literate than it seems sometimes. I think he's quite a social media genius, actually. That's why it was so weird when he said that in the middle of a debate. Let's continue.
Exists on Earth. This is my thinking. Doesn't matter what my great-grandmother ate. Yeah, she ate potatoes and meats and soups and lived till 104, but that didn't make sense. You could live to 130 if you eat carnivore, like people used to do in the olden days, right? Like way back before agricultural revolution. But
Time out. Who was living to 130 in the olden days? Is there a documentation of anybody living to over 100 in the olden days? What are we talking about?
I mean, 120 is like our genetic cap, isn't it? Nobody in recorded history lived after 120.
Well, it's because they weren't doing the carnivore diet. That's why they died early. They could have lived till 200 on the carnivore diet.
Yeah, I don't know if there's some sort of genetic cap, but I'd like to see evidence for this as well. Crazy,
in the olden days. That's just a joke. I can't, dude.
And just 130? That's only 10 years above. He should have said 200 or something. Oh, God, can you imagine?
At least he's I think he's actually understanding how stupid this sounds. Like, it seems to me like, I'm hoping, we're only 3-4 minutes in, but I'm hoping he's reflecting on how, stupid this train of thought is. So we'll see.
All right.
Now that I know what I know, that's a fairy tale. That whole story of...
Wait, he knows what he knows. What is that? Are we going to find out?
I hope.
Damn.
Evolving, becoming from monkeys, this and that and the other, that's a fairy tale that is not true at all.
Wait a second.
Hold on.
Wait a second. Now I'm confused. Is he going to pull religion on it? I think he's going to go religious or something.
It sounds promising, yeah. It sounds that we're gonna hear some pollution denial, yeah.
This is. I think. Postmortem will have a lot to say about this because she knows a lot about all of these different, organizations. So
I know a little bit. Let's not say too much. Not, build up expectation. All right.
Whatsoever. None of that's true. We didn't evolve like that. That is an atheistic belief that is there to take people away from God and religion.
Wow. Oh my God. This is going I didn't watch this ahead of time. This is going in like a crazy direction.
Yeah, Pig's Dream said Methuselah lived up to 969, and that's why 130 is a baby, isn't it?
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. Now he's going like conspiratorial too, which this is. I think this is the biggest thing I want to drill home to people who watch these like different YouTubers, and it's not about the intervention. It's about the conspiracy and what the intervention gives to them. So he's just going from one conspiracy, right? The carnivore, the government's lying to you about the food you eat, to another one, which is, oh, the atheists are trying to get you away from God. Like they just go from one to another to another to another. Wow, I'm just speechless. I don't know.
Do we know what percentage of conspiracy theorists gets disillusioned from it? Now I'm worried about the kid. He's young. I don't
think they do get disillusioned. I mean, I'd have to guess very small.
I saw a guy on Twitter. He's gotten a profile, I think, which provides a lot of information about how he sort of detached himself from all these conspiracy theories and how it sort of almost saved his life. So
wow, okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
because it's dangerous. Yeah, these conspiracy theories, they harm people.
Yeah, holy shit.
To take people away from any sort of divine force.
Divine force? I've never heard that sentence before. Again, I apologize. I'm a word nerd. What the fuck is a divine force?
It's kind of like in Star Wars, if you know how they had the Force, but I guess this is from God. I don't know. Yeah. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I would guess some sort of higher power. Yeah, some sort of higher power.
Yeah, but I never. It almost sounds like separate from God, isn't it? When you say the divine force, like it's like I don't know. It feels like something extra there. You know? A little bit of extra sauce on that evolution denial and creationism.
That we came from monkeys, you need to seriously reevaluate your own perspective and understanding of life in the world, because that is a terrible way to think, and it's so wrong.
Why are we gonna go into this?
I just can't wait to hear what he has to say. I don't know what he could possibly say, so I'm excited.
So let's just continue.
So now that I understand what I know, you know, if I could go back in time, I would have never done carnivore. I would have never been carnivore, because I know that that's not how humans developed. We weren't eating raw meat.
Wait, so we did develop. You just can't use the word evolution, right? He can't say that we evolved.
I think he's gonna pull. I think he's gonna pull an Adam and Eve. I think he's gonna talk about maybe how Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden, there were plants or something. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna go Christian here, but if I had to guess, that's where else could he go? I don't know. I don't know what direction he could go in.
The Christian part is a roller coaster, right? Within 7 episodes, I call them, in Genesis, they go from being like plant-based to meat eaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
That takes only 7 pages or so. So I don't know which. I mean, I think when you read the Bible, you must cherry pick. Otherwise.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
And yeah, notice how he didn't really provide a rebuttal to the sort of the denialism of evolution. He didn't really explain why he thinks that, where his sort of his arguments and beliefs came from.
He just says now that he knows what he knows. He's being super vague.
Yeah, and the classic thing, well, if you think that way, then there's something wrong with your
it's so manipulative. It's so like, it's such a sneaky thing that they do. Yeah, a lot of the carnivore people do that. They say, in fact, in my comments, they're like, the fact that you think this just proves how dumb you are. It's like, okay, do you have something to refute my claims? Like, do you have anything? Or are you just going to call me stupid?
Yeah, give me something. Give me something to grab onto, right? Give me like a search word to Google.
Yeah, give me some like constructive criticism. Don't just be vague about it.
and then we started cooking our meat because we got smarter and our brains got bigger, and that's all bullshit. That's not a real story. And humans are the chosen ones. We are not like any other animal on Earth. We are not insignificant. We are the Earth is for humans. We are everything.
Excuse me? So, no expectation from this point that he is actually have considered animals in an ethical way in any kind of shape or form, because he says he juxtaposes humans are not as insignificant as the animals.
We are everything.
This is
Everything
this
is for us.
more this is more I'd rather him just continue to deny nutrition, and like
die
this is
quickly.
more disappointing than what he started out with.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hit it on the head, Brendan. It goes through from one conspiracy kind of thinking to another conspiracy thinking very smoothly. There's no pause there to, yeah. All right.
Perhaps now his total death count is a little bit lower if he's eating a little bit more plants.
Yeah, my
Maybe.
guess is as much as is Brandon's that it's just the tiniest of bits. I think he's still very meat heavy. I'm gonna go back a little.
Significant. We are the Earth is for humans. We are everything. We are life, and everything is just there for us. Everything.
We are life. Okay, what does that sentence actually fucking means, right? We are life.
There's no evidence for any of this. There's no evidence. It's not like the world is like a candy shop for us. Like, where's the evidence for that? That everything's just here for us to take and abuse and use however we want.
I mean, forget evidence. I would be appreciative for a sentence that actually makes any kind of anything, like makes any kind of sense.
But we are life, yeah. When you zoom into it, this is what quackery leads to. When you zoom in and just focus, what is it? What is that saying? I don't know. We are life.
We are life. What I'm trying to be charitable. I haven't been so far, but I'm trying to be charitable and think, what does it mean by that? We are life. Does it mean that we are the creation that continues creating, or something? Like we generate life, or something like that? Or we are
I think
alive?
he's saying
because
that
that would make no sense if he just says we are alive. That's everything is alive, like a plant is alive. I don't know.
I think he's just trying to say in a very dramatic kind of theistic way that we are just the best. Like humans are the only species, only individuals that matter. Which again, he's implying, he hasn't gotten into his religion or what he believes, but he's implying some type of purpose, some kind of like some kind of what's it called, interference with like God and like you said, divine force. So we'll see.
I think he read Genesis and then stopped reading. That's the feeling that I'm getting right now. He read Genesis and he's kind of paraphrasing a few words from there. Or
Yeah,
maybe,
it's open to interpretation.
yeah, maybe he's like the type of religion. Maybe he studies with like a religion. This is all speculation, but it just reminds me of something. Maybe he studies with like a religious leader who feeds him like little snippets of words that you can say to become a Christian. I don't know.
Guys, before we can you guys give me like 2 seconds?
Sure.
I'll be right back.
No stopping the stream though.
No stopping the
The
stream.
stream
Don't you dare stop the stream. I'll be right back.
Off air, I scolded the guys for stopping the stream last night. I told them we're not stopping the stream for blooding anything or anybody, yeah? Guys, while you are here, did you know that Patrick is streaming this exact stream on his channel as well? Maybe you should go there and show his some appreciation.
Would definitely help me out. Yeah.
Yeah. You can mute the stream and let it play, and you can, like, subscribe, do all kinds of YouTube stuff while you're there. Also, I don't know if you know, but Patrick is my co-host on the cult live streams. Well, I say cult live stream, but it's the bite model review of veganism and meat eating. That's gonna happen on Tuesday. Get that link while Patrick is promoting his Instagram or something.
So Pig's Dream, thanks for joining. The 40-year-old vegan, thanks also for joining. Yeah, I've got
There
a
we
few more
go.
extra people. That's a bit of a buzz. Thanks a lot. Please interact. If you've got any extra points, I want to see what you guys think about this ex-carnivore reaction, because he's he's a big name in the carnivore movement. So we need to get to the bottom of this. And
You know, I also didn't know he was a big name. I mean, he's a very smooth talker. From very little that I actually saw of him, he talks really fast with a lot of confidence. I'm always suspicious of those people, but in this case especially, since I've heard that shit so many times.
but he was on all the big podcasts, and
Well, because
yeah,
he's
for you guys-
incredibly young and very buff, isn't he?
And yeah, back to what you're saying, for the people who want to follow on Instagram, yesterday, me and Logical Consistency, we did a stream to Andrew Tate over there. And yeah, we released a reel today. It got pretty good engagement.
All right.
Last time I checked,
I'm back.
it got more than 10K views. He made just on one of his clips where Andrew Tate is saying, suffering, everything suffers. So why do we care about animals?
Yeah,
And,
pop the link in the chat, and if you send it to me, I'll pop the link as well in my chat.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that now.
Right. Are we ready to continue?
I'm ready. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Here for us, we are like, but when you're carnivore and you're following this whole belief system, you think everything is random. You think it's just like, okay, this is how things turned out. We were fish, and then we became monkeys, and then we became whatever the next thing is, and humans and apes, and like that's the thinking.
Hold on, is he tying carnivory, like the carnivore diet, to the evolution?
Yeah, I think he's trying to say that carnivores are like you believe, like you follow the carnivore diet if you're an atheist, or if you believe in evolution, which is interesting because I feel like a lot of, I don't know how many, but I feel like a lot of people who do follow carnivore are also religious, or also usually Christian from what I've seen in the comments.
Well, most Christians accept evolution, though.
Interesting. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very small sect of Christianity that is what we call young Earth. Well, there are a few shades. Some accept that the world is young and we haven't evolved. Everything was just created as is by God. Some people accept evolution. No, they accept that the world is old, but they deny evolution. But most Christian, the majority these days, especially Catholics, they accept evolution. They accept the old Earth timeline. Loads of Christian scientists in the evolution field. So,
but wouldn't Adam and Eve like directly go against the theory of evolution?
Yeah, but most Christians say that it's a metaphor. It's a
metaphor. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the Christians I'm around. So my fiance, she's from the South. She's from Florida, and I promise you, those Christians do not believe in evolution.
Well, that will do it. The South of America. Yeah. I don't know. That's the impression I've got, at least, that most Christians, look at the Bible as something to have like a parable of, to read it through the lens of having learned lessons from it, and not directly, well, this happened, the Garden of Eden actually existed, all that stuff, as far as I know. Yeah. But what's more interesting that it just because I think because the carnivore dieters claim that our ancestors ate a certain way, he then
Oh, I see.
extrapolates that anything to do with ancestral claims is tied to evolution, which is, I
That's
guess,
what he's doing. That's
Yeah.
exactly what he's doing. Yeah.
yeah, I guess I understand where he's coming from. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't make sense to become a carnivore if you believe in young Earth, because most of the ancestry talk is about millions of years. So if you you don't believe in evolution, you don't believe in old Earth. All up in the air.
Good. Yeah, well thought out post-mortem.
What? Sorry.
I said, yeah, well thought out.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
trying
that's
to be
exactly
careful.
what he's doing. Because I think what to him, he's gotten this awakening that, wait a second, I'm carnivore because millions of years ago, Homo sapiens ate meat, but I don't believe in millions of years ago, or whatever he discovered, whatever he knows now led him to not believe in millions of years ago. So he can't be carnivore. So like he debunked carnivore with the like a theistic worldview. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
So you think everything is just, let's just go back in time and use the history books. But that's not how we can actually do things. That doesn't work. That's not true at all. That's complete denial of the truth.
Wait, what history book is talking about ancestry or like further than since the beginning of the first century? Like, what does that even mean? I mean, I think he's incredibly mixed up with his sciences, right? Because as far as I know, right, I'm a dumbass, but as far as I know, history books aren't talking about back to millions of years or whatever.
Because there was no history, there was no documentation back then.
Yeah.
You can't really talk too much about what we don't know that much of. But yeah, I think he's just going on like a man. Something's up with him. Like this is not like healthy. This is something weird. I don't know.
And the actual existence of God. So I understand this now, but I didn't understand this then. And at this time, I was really starting to struggle on carnivore.
I really want to know whom he's talking to. I really, really want to know who's been in his ear teaching him this, because he's kind of reciting a thing, right? The way he talks about it, the way he paraphrases things into this almost childlike language of the earth is here for us, we are alive. This sounds like something that somebody told him, and he's kind of paraphrasing it the way he understood it. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm reading
other
too much into it.
YouTubers.
Sorry?
Yeah, he probably found YouTube videos of like conspiracy about like evolution doesn't exist, and he probably went down a YouTube hole or something.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
And so I added back in carbs. Now, there was a lot of, I've been doing research on carnivore for years, guys. If you think about this, I mean, I was making 6-7K a month on my channel. Like, it was my main source of income. I was trying to leave UCLA. Of course I wanted this to be real. Of course
7K.
I wouldn't.
Ooh, that's nice.
That's a nice
6-7K. Wow.
Look, if I had like no morals, I would go carnivore for 7K a month. Are you kidding me? If I had
I'll do
no
that as well.
morals at all, I
Just
would.
Such an easy way.
Reference, Brenton, how much is that, if you juxtapose it with maybe like a minimum wage or something in America?
Let me put it this way. So I work full time. I make $10 an hour more than minimum wage, right? So I make decent money, what I would say. And I don't, that's like a lot of money. 7K a month is a lot of money. That's like double what I make. Not to get crazy, but that's like a lot of money.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know if he's exaggerating, because on social media people will exaggerate. Maybe he was making 5.5 or something. He like bumped it up, but 7K a month is a lot.
I mean, we can go to Well, I guess it wouldn't be very representative, would it, if we go to Social Blade?
Well, he doesn't have that many subs. He doesn't have that many subscribers. So 7K a month is a lot for just 18,000. Or is that how much people make for 18,000 subs?
Oh, I think he was selling, carnivore diets or plans and stuff such as this.
Oh, okay. So maybe if he means total with all of the streams of revenue. Yeah, that would make sense. Maybe people also joined his channel and stuff.
Maybe, like, I've noticed that in the carnivore space, sometimes, when they talk about I don't know, that's speculation. I'm gonna regret saying it. So.
Yeah, an easy way to make money, unfortunately, through innocent animals. Just tell people what they want to hear. They love it.
Well, how much would that be popular though? How big is the carnivore dieting community have grown? I mean,
way bigger than you would ever imagine. Like, I had no idea until I started reacting to carnivore videos, and they just blew my channel. Like, with comments and with like way bigger than I thought. I thought it was like a small little niche thing of like people just. It's huge. It's like really upsetting, actually.
Oh fuck! And there are probably not that many carnivore influencers yet, right? Because I'm thinking like of the vegan community. There's just so many vegan channels and shit that it's almost like impossible to grow your channel these days. Because nobody in the vegan community is making money because we have ethics and we don't overcharge for shit and stuff. Yeah, if he's making 7K a month with, by all accounts, a tiny channel, right? Like most YouTubers would call 18K nothing. Oh, but yet, wow.
And it's interesting to see because like Earthling Ed, I think he's getting close to like 500K subscribers, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to know how many of those people are vegans, right? Probably most of them, like just statistically, probably aren't, right? Or maybe every vegan on the planet, almost every vegan on the planet is subscribing to him. But, I'm sure a lot of people who follow Earthling Ed probably just find his content interesting or like the conversation, even if they're non-vegan. But I would probably argue, just speculation again, that people who follow Sean Baker or people who follow these guys, they are carnivore. Or they are like leaning that way pretty heavily. So yeah, it's really.
I would also
really
claim
upsetting.
that being on a carnivore diet takes some mad cash. So it's potentially a rich community to try to scam.
For sure.
Yeah. Whereas vegans are all poor and shit. Damn.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, that's so. Like, I feel like almost every vegan I see on the internet, they're all pretty, middle class, low, poor. You see a lot of like plant-based culture in like maybe richer societies, but vegans, like ethical vegans, they're all pretty like average income.
Patrick seems like he wants to say.
No, I'll just say, I know there's the plant-based wellness sphere, but you don't really know which of them are vegan, and there's some of them, for example, they might eat fish once per month. So it's kind of tough to know whether they're ethically orientated. But I don't know. I haven't got any statistics on this, but yeah.
All right.
It was my main source of income. I was trying to leave UCLA. Of course I wanted it to be real. Of course I wouldn't have left carnivore if I didn't think that I needed to. But I did need to. But I was researching a shit ton in that whole time. Like, it was all that I focused on. It was all that I was doing. Watching videos, watching the carnivore channels, reading books, reading research papers. And I accumulated a lot of knowledge in defense of the idea that carnivore is the best diet for humans. I got a lot of knowledge.
I can't believe the way he uses words is just great, drives me insane. He's saying he accumulated a lot of knowledge, meaning something that he rejects now, right? So it's not knowledge then, is it? It's just all bullshit. Why are you calling it knowledge then? All right.
Knowledge. And some of those things include the ideas that all animals are in ketosis, they all produce ketones. Things like there are there are groups who thrive on only animal products. And it's just a lot more stuff, like carbohydrates being poisonous, plants having anti-nutrients, just a lot of stuff that I can recite like it's nothing, because I studied it so hard. I studied it more than anything else in my entire life.
Is this guy 8 years old? Is this guy 8 years? This is like if you gave an 8-year-old a camera and he's talking about what he learned at school. Like he's not, he keeps saying he could recite these things. Everything he just recited is not true and is not supported by peer-reviewed science. So he's accumulating a lot of information, but definitely not knowledge. Yeah, I agree with you, Postmortem. Definitely not knowledge.
And I'd like to know what knowledge made him sort of debunk his past carnivore position. What was he reading, peer-reviewed meta-analyses, or was he just going down a YouTube rabbit?
Case reports.
Yeah, we know God did it.
Reading case reports about some dude who ate 10 pounds of soy for 3 years or something.
And now I understand that there's a huge, very strong and true rebuttal to all these points. Because carnivore is not an inherently bad diet, but it's a bad diet for certain people and certain...
Sorry, are there rebuttals, or is it not an inherently bad diet, right? When you have a diet that is basically based on what you now recognize as full bullshit, what evidence do you now have for this diet to be anything like inherently good, inherently bad, inherently neutral? How can you say any of those words in the same sentence? Patrick.
I don't know. I just add that he talks about animals not being in ketosis. I'll add that Dr. Matthew Nagra's got a recent reel on this topic. People can check his account on the fact that Inuits, they had a protective adaptation to not go into ketosis. But regardless, it's just important to look at health outcomes. There's some people who apparently can do quite good on a more healthy vegan diet. There's keto diet there's cohort studies which look for about 10, 15 years I've seen. And there's the more healthful keto diet is more in the direction of a plant-based keto diet. So instead of more saturated fat, switching saturated fat from animal foods to polyunsaturated fats and vegetable oils. So it could be, possible to sustain the keto diet long term. I haven't seen too much evidence long term on the keto diet, but I would say if someone wants to do a keto diet, it'll be best to go for a more vegan, plant-based, plant-exclusive. That'll be the more healthful one.
Dude, I want to meet a vegan keto guy or girl. That's hardcore. That's like, I want to meet that person,
I mean,
low carb.
Yeah, there is a dude on Twitter that is doing this as an experiment right now. His name is Daniel.
Interesting. Okay, I'll try and check. Oh, I don't have Twitter, but I'll try and look it up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were thinking of doing a reaction at some point.
Yeah. All right.
And there's also a famous vegan cardiologist. She's called she's ethically vegan, Dr. Danielle Belardo.
Oh, Belardo, yeah.
Belardo.
Yeah, and she was doing a vegan keto diet at some point, so maybe she's still on it. And she recently debated Dr. Gundry. He's another sort of guy in the quack sphere. And he was making some outrageous claims. She was pointing towards peer-reviewed literature. Dr. Gundry was talking about anecdotes, like if everyone follows my diet, disease would be completely eliminated, including genetic
That was the one
disease.
with Dr. Mike, right? Or Dr.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
I saw just a tiny bit of it, but I haven't. I just never developed the taste for this long format quack beatings.
Oh my God, that's all I could. If I had to pick one thing that I could listen to for the rest of my life, it would be that. It would be 4-hour-long debates between really knowledgeable nutritional scientists that are vegan and everyone else. That I could listen to that all day. It's like so much fun. Dr. Mike's got to go vegan.
Yeah, he does. Has to. I just have a very low tolerance to cringe, and that shit is cringe to me. I can't. But yeah.
Inherently bad diet, but it's a bad diet for certain people in certain situations. For example, if you are a developing child in the heart of Los Angeles with Eastern European ancestry, you should not be a carnivore, point blank. You should not. No chance. Because your ancestry is acclimated to consuming grains, to consuming starches, and organic local fruits, as well as meat, high quality raw dairy which has tons of carbs. There's so
That's my personal pet peeve. Guys, raw dairy is the stupidest fucking shit you can put in your stupid mouth. For real. Like, where did this myth come from? That shit kills people. That shit kills infants specifically. Jesus Christ.
I did a reaction to Paul Saladino, his reel about how, like, his hack to get raw dairy is just eating pet food. But in that video, he grabs a cow's udder and he like pours the milk in his mouth. And I was like, it's like whoever sees that and is like, yeah, I'm like, get away from me, man. That's too much. That's just not. Like, I get when you're disconnected and you buy the milk from the store and it's like, oh, it's just milk. But when you are like totally fine with grabbing the udder of a milk and like squeezing it into your mouth, that's too much for me. There's something wrong with you.
And there's also this idea that if you drink raw dairy, you can cure lactose intolerance. And there's studies which look into this, and as Postmortem said, it's a hazard. Raw dairy is a risk for foodborne illnesses, and plus ethically you shouldn't be drinking it.
And also, I'm confused because it seems like Joey's like backtracking now. So he just went through this whole rant where he said, no, ancestry doesn't matter. Doesn't, that's an atheist conspiracy, whatever he said. And then now he's saying you shouldn't be carnivore if your ancestors are Eastern European and because you ate a lot of grains. Like, I feel like he's just all over the place.
Well, to be fair, he said in the beginning that he was thinking about the ancestry of thousands or tens of thousands of years ago, but when he should have been looking at the ancestry of his, like, at the
is that what he said?
grandmother.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so he said, okay, forget about millions of years ago. I'm just going to look to my great-grandmother. Okay,
Well,
that makes sense.
If he's a young Earth creationist, then he's definitely could look at the Noah's time, the guy with the boat who was first granted to meet. Or, he could look at the Garden of Eden, where they were supposed to be supposedly totally plant-based. Why is he choosing one? Why? I mean, supposedly, right, if he goes by the creation myth, his body is built, his God created his body, digest only plants, right? And whatever happened afterwards, that's, I don't know, some kind of God got confused or something and granted them eating meat or whatever. But he built the body to be plant-based. I don't know.
So many carbs in raw milk, right? This is all stuff that should be consumed by somebody in that situation. Whereas somebody in Siberia, it's a different story. If you're in Siberia, then you only have meat at certain months.
I mean, the Siberian people are of Eastern ancestry as well. There was a little bit of a historical for food. There is lots of people with Russian ancestry in Siberia, aren't there? Am I mixing up? I could be. I'm a dumbass. Somebody. Boys are very quiet. Am I mixing it up?
I'm waiting for Pat. I don't know. I thought I wanted to Pat.
I don't know. I don't. You go, Brandon.
I wouldn't be surprised. That makes sense. That would make sense to me if there was Russian and Eastern European like migration or like connection to Siberia. I just don't know what this has to do with anything. Like,
I mean, Stalin was sending his prisoners there. So.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I think he means something else. I think he means like not Siberia, but something else. Maybe like the North Pole or something. Or I don't know.
Potentially, yeah. But yeah, I think what he's trying to say, from how I understood, is that you should eat based on, what your environment is, eating local foods, a few a few generations back. That's the general impression. And there could be foods, novel foods, which are health promoting, such as a multivitamin. They didn't exist. And in the literature, someone needs to point out to him to have a read about the nutritional literature and just read what's happening in our current populations.
Yeah, I would just need evidence. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I would just need evidence to support that, like, people in Siberia can't do well on grains or shouldn't be eating grains, whole, fruits, vegetables. I just don't. That just wouldn't make sense to me, and that's not consistent with the evidence.
Well, you see, Brandon, they might not have those foods several generations that didn't have them. That's why they can't digest them. No. Right.
Of the year, that's totally fine. You need the extra fat, you need meat for warmth. You don't really need carbs because they're not there. I mean, you need milk, which has tons.
So there's this common myth that you need fat for warmth, and I don't know where it comes from. Yeah,
I was going to ask.
I don't know if Brandon knows, but potentially it could be that fat is more calorie dense, so it's easier to get enough calories. But maybe that's where they sort of tried to make the link. But yeah, everyone says this. Even my mom says this.
I have no idea. Like, having more fat on your physical body, I've heard helps keep you warm. Like being a bigger person, but consuming fat, if you're like really lean, it's not going to help you stay warm. That wouldn't make any sense. And also, like, the language here, he's saying you need to consume. Like, where is that coming from?
Yeah,
like, there's no need to consume anything.
Prescriptive. It's amazing how he's again incredibly comfortable just saying this shit.
No, there's a famous expedition guy from I think it's South Africa called Mike Horn, and I read that when he did his expeditions, he used to freeze cubes of olive oil and he used to suck them because he was burning so many calories when he was doing his treks in cold environments. So that's just an extra point to add, that fat is more calorie dense. If you need more calories, it's a good option to add in, especially if it's unsaturated fat instead of saturated fat, because over long-term saturated fat increases your risk of heart disease.
Keep preaching, Patrick. That's what we like to hear. Absolutely.
Tons of carbs in itself, but you're not going to eat starches and plants and stuff. I need carbs. I definitely need them. I cannot.
I love that.
Zero carb
I
diet.
need carbs. I need carbs. That should have been the thumbnail to the.
Well, I haven't watched the video, so my thumbnail was incredibly uncharitable. It was just, I'm no longer a lion, though.
No, I think your thumbnail is actually better than what's in this video. That would have been fine if he was like, "Hey guys, I realize I'm not a lion. It's good to eat carbs." That would have been way better than this. That would have been way better than this.
Yeah. The best would be, of course, we can't go on without mentioning several times. The best would be I've realized that animals have a moral worth and decided to minimize my impact on them, or something like
100%.
But
so far, it never happens.
Everything up for me. It fucked shit up. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But back to these things that I was studying.
Why isn't he saying what was wrong, though? Was it a 2.5 year long diarrhea or something?
I think Patrick was right in the beginning. I think he probably had some erectile dysfunction or something affecting his like manliness, and he doesn't want to talk about it because he's gonna they're all carnivore community is all about testosterone, like Patrick was saying. I think it was his testosterone. I think he had trouble with his manliness, his manhood, and he's like ashamed to talk about it. I think that's what it was.
So I would say it could be testosterone because they deny ApoB, LDL cholesterol. Maybe it could have been liver enzymes as well, or something to do with his kidneys. But in terms of what would affect someone of this sort of profile following the carnivore diet, it would probably be testosterone or estrogen.
All right. Guys, actually, I need to go take a break for a minute. talk amongst yourselves, okay?
Cool, we
And,
can chat.
all
Yeah.
right.
My chat can panic. Starting now.
So my stream, Bianca says, Gundry is a total snake oil salesman.
100%.
But, yeah.
I can't believe like he was, even with the worst part about that was his smoking claims. Like I always find that all these people who like reject epidemiology or who have these really high standards for evidence, they usually don't apply that consistently to smoking. You know, and Dr. Matthew Nagra had some really good debates. I watched them recently. Older debates of carnivores where the carnivores are like, yeah, you know, I believe smoking causes cancer or whatever. And he points out how the evidence for smoking, for light smoking, is very similar to the evidence we have for red meat. But Dr. Gundry, apparently, I guess he's the first consistent one because he was like, well, we don't know that they live till 80 despite the smoking. They could have lived till 80 because of the smoking, you know? That was crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, it went quite big on social media, that clip, especially. I was not too familiar of his work. I know he's big on sort of anti-nutrients. So he's like
Lectins,
a lot of lectins. He's got a book on it, right? Are you familiar with what he's written?
I think his book is The Plant Paradox. I haven't read it. I don't know anything, but based on that debate, his big thing is like sugar. So his big thing is sugar, even in fruits, right? He says you got to eat the right size apple. So his big thing is sugar. His big thing is lectins. He is anti-meat. So he does say he's not pro-meat, but yeah, he's kind of fear-mongering lectins and fruit and sugar.
Also seasonal. I think he said that if you don't eat fruit based on the season,
it's too much fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. The health outcome data considers, you know, the whole year. Winter, when fruits aren't available, people go into the supermarket. It takes into account seasonal variations. So.
Right. Ready?
Ready.
Right, all animals are in ketosis. Well, we are not like all animals. And there's a reason why there are no natural groups at all that are in ketosis. Maybe animals, sure. Maybe monkeys and cows. Cows will take grass, ferment it, and then they'll produce ketones. That's great, but not humans. Because humans, all the natural groups, Hansa, Nicoya, any centenarian group, the people in the Mediterranean, these groups throughout Italy who live a super long time, these are not low-carb groups at all, none of them. The only ones who had some success with low carbs were the Inuit, and crazy thing is, Inuit can't even get into ketosis. That's the crazy thing. So everyone points to the Inuit as this group that shows the power of the carnivore diet, when the Inuit cannot even get into ketosis. This was almost certainly an adaptation they made in order to...
Adaptation, but not evolution. Anything to add, Patrick, about...
No, it seems perhaps he stumbled upon Dr. Nagra's video, which I mentioned earlier. he made a reel on this exact topic. So.
Offset the negative effects of a zero-carb diet. They can't get into ketosis, so they make their own sugars because it's a clear sign that long-term ketosis, prolonged ketosis, would lead to the ultimate termination of their civilization. They wouldn't be able to procreate anymore. It's basically an anti-fertility diet in many cases.
You were right, Patrick.
Anti-fertility. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yep. Patrick, you called it spot on. And I do think his symptoms had to do with like his, I had to do with ED. I do. I really do, because I think he's going to allude to that a lot, even though he's not going to say it. But what's crazy to me is like, I'm not pro keto. Like, I don't really know much about keto diets in the vegan sense. So I'm not pro keto, but I would never say I would never make a claim that keto diets will kill you or you can't do keto. I just don't know. So I'm not going to make the claim, but he seems to be confident now. So I don't know.
No, I'll add that there are studies with, long-term sort of studies, not lifelong, but 10 years. I've seen cohort studies of people doing healthful keto diets, and they seem to have okay outcomes. The ones eating more unsaturated oils, more plant protein. And so I'm not confident as well making the claim that the keto diet is unhealthy long term. I just don't. I think it's so hard to adhere to, but there are low carb, nutritionists, evidence based, who also promote the more healthful version, which is more towards a plant exclusive diet in that direction, which is the general theme we see across the literature. So, yeah, it seems like it could be possible to, adhere to long term. But so I would also not be comfortable making the claim that the keto diet is, toxic long term or dangerous, whatever these words that they use.
Cases. The Inuit are a testament to this. Why would it be, and this is what I want people to actually explain to me if I'm wrong here, why would it be that carnivore is the optimal diet for everyone if there is an adaptation in the Inuit that selects against the continuation of being able to get into ketosis?
I mean, he's doing the same thing, isn't he? He still assumes that A, that adaptation is somehow not evolution, and B, that, if the adaptation in this population is such, then it's carnivore is the best for humans. If the adaptation is different, then carnivore is not. Well, all of this is bullshit, my lovely, because how can you infer anything from, like, whatever humans ate at some point?
Yeah, he's still going off of this group did that group did that, instead of just following the peer-reviewed science. Yeah, he's still doing the same trap. I agree.
Yeah, and looking at just these small mechanisms can lead to very absurd positions, such as, for example, humans, we can convert beta-carotene to vitamin A, but so someone could just say, why don't we all just have a diet only carrots, because our body is designed to create vitamin A from beta-carotene, so an only carrot diet is the optimal diet.
Well, that would be something that he would deny, wouldn't he? That beta-carotene can be
maybe he won't deny it. Who knows?
I mean, that's part of the carnivore bundle. So maybe he shed it at this point, but he must have spouted that at some point. I think I remember him spouting the meme nutrient thing against the vegan diet, right? And one of that is vitamin A. So he was at some point convinced that on a vegan diet you can't get vitamin A. So.
Oh yeah, that meme which always goes around, which has it's even got vitamins that don't exist, such as vitamin F. Just that. It's the meme of the sort of a disheveled vegan saying, show me that, like a giga chad saying, vegan diets are deficient in this and this, and then a vegan that's saying, show me the studies, and he's sort of, is this the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever debunk that meme thoroughly? I think Lifting Vegan Logic did, didn't he?
He's got a good debunk of that meme.
I was about to propose, let's do it together. I'll host. I know nothing about this, but I'll add entertainment or something.
Why would that be the case? Why is it that the Maasai consume raw milk? They consume tons of carbs through raw milk and blood. Probably more carbs than the average American does. Why would they do that? Why would the Hunza, who are known to
I'll add. So yeah, these tribes, they're living in extreme situations. So just because someone's eating someone in an extreme situation doesn't mean it's the optimal diet, such as, yeah. You got something to add, Brandon, to that?
No, I just, whenever somebody brings up, what about indigenous tribes or whatever, I always like to make the point that, like, these tribes are not just lacking vegan food. They're lacking healthcare. They're lacking secure shelter. They're lacking food security in general, most of the time, right? If we're talking about tribes that have to hunt, that do it for survival, they're lacking a lot of other things besides just access to vegan food. So we need to give them that access on top of everything else.
Yeah, they're lacking the most important thing, which is the exchange of ideas. All they have, their own culture.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Consume breads and consume grains and apricots, as well as tons of raw dairy products. They have a high carb diet. A lot of these groups have high carb diets, and Nicoya, a high carb diet. Why would this be the case? And this is not to make fun of the carnivores, because I did it for 2 years. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but
It's just so funny to me, right? I did it for 2 years, so I can't shit on it. I can't admit that I was wrong and I was just a dumbass.
Yeah, he's
I'm
kind of
genu-
just saying, oh, the carnivore diet's fine. It just wasn't fine for me. That's kind of what he's saying, which is just, again, that's what you get when you have somebody purely going off of their own experience, right? They're just talking about what's fine for them, which is fine. Like if there was a disclaimer, right, that was like, hey, don't listen to me, follow the science, follow the peer-reviewed science. This is just my experience. That's fine, but they don't do that. They talk as if they are gods.
Brandon, you've been incredibly uncharitable. Joey here, young Joey, did a huge amount of research and he read all the books and all
He
the
has
studies.
all of the knowledge. He is life, guys. He is life.
He
Don't
is
forget.
life. I think I'm gonna put it in my Twitter bio. I am life.
Do the people in the carnivore community usually admit that there are tribes following high carb diets, or is this something new?
Yeah, no, I was actually going to say too, thank you for reminding me that all of the carnivores, they point to these tribes and say, look how many animal products they're eating. I've never heard anybody talk about the carbs. So that's actually interesting that he brought that up. I would be interesting to fact check.
Yeah, the gatherer part of hunter-gatherer tribes is usually swept under the rug a little bit. You know, if we don't look at it and don't say it, it doesn't exist.
I've seen some research with them, with the paper stating potentially the Hadza were eating, I think, 80 grams worth of fiber to 100 per day. It seems extremely high. So I don't know if that's true, but yeah. Again, why are we trying to look for them for some optimal form of health?
Yeah, that's the problem I usually have on Twitter. I'm trying to cut down on that shit. The problem I have is going into the rabbit hole when I should be like, what are you, just pointing out. So what? Like, right? It's just the ridiculousness of the claim in the first place.
genuinely, I really want to have this conversation and kind of start this back up again, because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, somebody make it make sense. None of these groups are doing low carb. None of them. So if carbs are so poisonous, if they're so toxic, why are these groups still thriving in spite of consuming high carb diets?
Well, nobody ever, do carnivores claim that carbs simpliciter are poisonous? No, they say it's the oxalates, blah, 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 no?
I don't think I've heard the claim that from carnivores that carbs, like just any carbs, are poisonous. I think I've heard the claim that carbs are the reason for most of our chronic diseases. So maybe that's what he means. I've heard carnivores claim that carbs are what causes diabetes. Carbs, the consumption of carbs in addition to animal products is why people get heart disease. It's not the animal products, it's the carbs. So if you took out the carbs and only ate animal products, no heart disease. That's what I've heard. So maybe that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, I've seen some people say that because our body can produce carbs from protein, for example, that this means why do we need to eat carbohydrates? And again, just health outcome data. This is all we're going to keep on drilling in. People eating carbs. There is heterogeneity. So refined carbs tend to be less beneficial in higher doses, whilst more whole grains tend to be more beneficial.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't understand. Right? If humans are supposed to be so good on only meat, why did I feel like shit? Why did it fuck me up in the end? Right? And now, guys, I feel better than I've ever felt before. I look better. Like, everything is good in my life right now. And yeah, I started to get outside more. I left a stressful environment, which was used.
Again, he just adds confounding in, right? Just by talking about it. Like, I feel better than ever. I'm also going outside, as if it's like some kind of a separate thing that happens due to his diet, like because of the diet. It couldn't be that, oh, maybe there's a reverse causality a little bit here. You're going more outside and therefore you feel better. reason. I don't know. When I go outside, I burn in flames. So
Yeah, again, placebo effect. And you change something, most people feel better, at least for a couple of weeks when they do something new and they think it's going to be, health promoting for them. And yeah, going outside is, I don't think eating meat, changing your diet makes you go outside. It's something psychological there, probably.
What I will say is if you start eating carbs, right? Carbs can help with your mood, maybe, and also his sex drive. I guarantee you he's talking about a sex drive. Everything about him tells me he's talking about a sex drive. So he probably had more confidence, probably because his sex drive improved, maybe has a better mood because he's eating carbs now, and now he just wants to go enjoy the sun, What are you going to do?
He just wanted some bread at the end of the day, perhaps. Some avocado toast.
yeah, somebody pointed out that that is not many views for a channel of his. Strange, isn't it?
Wait a second. Wait, let's look at that comment for a second. Hold on. It says, could it be you felt unwell during that time because you took the juice? Was he on steroids? That would be, I don't know if he documented, I don't know if that's just somebody trolling or whatever, but if he was on steroids, that's a whole nother thing.
Don't know. I mean, he's
Also,
pretty buff by what people say. He's pretty well built. Maybe he was doing TRT to try to improve his T status.
Oh my God, that's a great point. Yeah, maybe. Oh, that would be interesting. Wow, this guy is just getting more and more outlandish as we go on.
Really, I really hope he lays it out what his problem was later on. Maybe like for the... It's the problem. He should have done it in this video, even if for the reason of carnivores still being subscribed to him, right? So then the carnivores would hear his stories. Maybe something would resonate. I don't know.
UCLA. I made a lot of good changes to my life. I started, and one of those big changes that I made was I started to eat more plant foods, more carbs. That's really what I started to do, and I felt my energy go up a lot. I felt like hormonally I was way better off, libido better, stronger, like everything better.
Yeah, libido better. Yes, finally he admits it. There we go.
And I don't think that you can say that it's because I did it incorrectly when I was literally one of the pioneers in carnivore. Nobody was doing carnivore better than me, to be like, and I'm no bullshit. Like I was doing it perfect. I tried the fasting thing. I tried eating a shit ton, like bowls and bowls of grass-finished tallow. I was eating some organs rarely.
Oh
right?
my
like in
God.
moderation.
Oh my God. Bowls and bowls of tallow. I can't imagine the agony. I can't imagine, dude.
I was doing the perfect carnivore diet.
As he said, yeah, I was the pioneer. He was the pioneer. No one can tell him he was doing it wrong.
How long was he doing it for? How long? Carnivore. I got
He
the
said 2
impression
years.
there was like 2 years.
At least. Yeah, at least from what he said at the start.
Sorry, what? What was it?
At least 2 years, I would guess, from what he said at the start, because he said he was sort of promoting it for 2 years. So,
and also when you're a pioneer, let's just break this down for a second. There's no research supporting the diet, and if you are the one that pioneered it, you essentially like made the guidelines, created it. How does he know what's right or what's wrong? What is he basing like how he did his carnivore diet? What is he basing that off of?
Good point.
yeah, pioneers are normally the ones who sort of create it, right? That's what pioneer means.
But
And
also,
they usually get it wrong at first. Like you look at any pioneer in any other any other field, they usually don't get everything right, and then people make it better and better and better. That's usually how it goes.
But also, was claiming that he was a pioneer and been doing it for only 2 years. How can he claim that? We know of prominent ex-carnivores like Paul Saladino and Frankie Tufano. Frankie Tufano started the carnivore diet like 9 years ago, didn't he?
That's true. There's
Something
also
like that.
spherage. Spherage was huge. a few years ago too. So yeah, I don't know where he's getting that from either. That's interesting.
Oh God, Brendan, I forgot about Sverige. Thank you for reminding me. God damn.
Oh, he's my favorite. Svirage is my favorite. You've got to love Svirage, man.
Tell me about it one.
When I craved it, only when I craved it, I would eat organs. I would eat some cooked, sometimes raw.
Wait, I'd like to add.
All the highest
I'd like
quality
to add
stuff
something.
with
Sorry.
Yeah, he said only when I craved organs, I would eat organs. Craving something is no indication. You know, if someone craves cookies, it doesn't mean that just if you only eat cookies, you know, because you're craving it all day, it'll be a healthful choice.
Dude, the worst thing I've ever heard is a carnivore when they say, "Oh, if kids don't like vegetables, they're actually eating intuitively and they should follow that intuition. They know the vegetables have the anti-nutrients in them." It is like the craziest thing I've ever heard. I don't know how they think that's a good argument at all.
They should just be honest and say, you know what, I don't know how to cook my vegetables.
I mean, kids,
Or they go ahead.
kids
Sir.
eat poop sometimes. At least in the old days, in my days, when the what's its name, diapers weren't tight, it would get to their own poop and just fucking eat it.
No, that's a good point. Like, I ate all types of awful things. I love like bologna. As a kid, is bologna like that? Should I just? Well, they might say yes, so never mind. But Cap'n Crunch, I ate a lot of Cap'n Crunch, so I don't know what we're talking about.
Apparently, to my dad, I used to up until about a year and a half, old. I used to eat just raw potato and call it an apple, and they couldn't stop me. Until one day, they just decided to wean me off that shit. So I guess I was craving raw potatoes.
What's Captain Crunch?
What?
Is it a cereal? Is it a cereal or?
Wait. Have either of you had Cap'n Crunch?
No, I
What?
almost never had cereal at all. I was
Oh, because you guys are not from the US. Oh my God. So yeah, I forget. I feel like cereals are not that prominent outside of the US, right? For breakfast?
No, they are pretty prominent in Europe,
Look,
where I am.
I've been to Europe. I've seen the cereal. It's not like the cereal we have here. Okay. Like, yeah, you guys have cereal, but it's different. So so it's not Captain Crunch. It's Cap'n Crunch. So CAP''N. You have to say it like that. So it's Cap'n Crunch. And it is vegan, by the way. So I know a lot of cereals are fortified and it's not vegan. It's vegan. It's made by Quaker, the same company that does the oats. It is the best cereal in the entire world. It's super sweet. And it's the best. It's so good. I eat it to this day. It's really, really good.
You'll be happy to know then that cereals generally are pretty good in the health outcomes. So especially
Not this one.
fortified.
Not this one.
Fortified. Is it fortified with vitamins?
Slightly, but this one is really high in sugar, low in fiber, and
No whole grains.
if you do crunch berries, so there's Cap'n with crunch berries, it's got a bunch of food coloring and more sugar. So yeah, no, not ideal, but
Not whole grain.
I would say, I'm sure, most cereals, they try and make it a little whole grain, but let me put it this way. It's not like Cheerios. It's crazy, but it's so good. If you ever go to the US or have a chance to get Cap'n Crunch, I urge you to try it with some soy milk. It's very good.
I would eat some cooked, sometimes raw, like, and all of the highest quality stuff with cuts around the bones to get the optimal collagen ratio. Like, I was doing it right, guys, and it still fucked me up because my body was so stressed out trying to make carbohydrates out of proteins, which is a stressful process. Gluconeogenesis is a stress-provoking process that I didn't need to put myself through. And I'm so glad I did carnivore still. I'm so glad I did it.
It's like zigzagging into I'm getting vertigo. Like
He's backtracking and then going forward and then backtracking. He's not having like a consistent point here.
I'm so glad I put my body through this terrible thing that puts stress on my body. Jesus Christ. Well, let's hear him out. Maybe there's a reason why he was glad that he did the carnivore diet despite detriment to his health.
I could give you one reason: the $7K a month.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, I made so much money in that first year, in those 2 years. I don't regret anything. Yeah, I wouldn't regret it either.
Because
Let me show you how we do stuff around here. Actually, my department uses Monday.com, so I'm good.
if I hadn't done it, I would never have gotten to the point where I'm at now, where I feel like I'm way closer to the truth. The only thing that's gonna bring us closer to the truth is making mistakes. But at the same time, I think it's a little bit of a frightening message that carnivore is a solution to everything. And guys, you guys all know this. I did so many carnivore interviews. I did so many of them. So many incredible success stories. People who were sick, who had like epilepsy, like everything you could imagine, like everything. I interviewed them, and I did great interviews too. There were great interviews, great success stories, and so I'm not oblivious to the potential for the carnivore diet to be extreme.
He almost said effect there. I'm not oblivious to effects of a carnivore diet, but then he switched to potential. Interesting.
This guy's got a huge ego. Sorry, I was just gonna say this guy's like got a huge ego. He just thinks everything he did was great. I mean, his interviews were awful. They were not good. There was nothing like scientific about them. They were just.
Did you watch a few of them?
I think so. Yeah, I think I at least watched one or two. Yeah.
I understand that, but I also understand now that depriving yourself of carbohydrates is not the solution in most cases, but depriving yourself of carbohydrates that are sprayed with pesticide, of carbohydrates that are refined, of carbohydrates that are infused with red 40 and dyes and artificial sweeteners and things like that, that makes more sense to me.
Patrick?
It seems he's still in the purest attitude when the health outcome data takes into account all of these chemicals, though, just because something's got a name which you cannot pronounce or has a long list of ingredients, it doesn't really matter if the health outcome data demonstrates that it's generally positive on the health.
Also, what about artificial sweeteners? From last time I'm aware that the data on artificial sweeteners are fine, right? Have you looked into
artificial? Yeah, there's even some studies which compare it to water, and in terms of weight loss, artificial sweeteners do comparably, and in some cases even better than water. Some people can speculate on why this is. Potentially, who knows? Maybe just drinking something sweet prevents you to not want to snack compared to someone drinking just water. That's a potential explanation, but generally, I wouldn't recommend if someone doesn't feel they need them. It's not something to have in your diet. Like, it's not a necessity. But I love,
Yeah, it's always zero. Compared to what, right? So like, if you are fine drinking water and eating very minimal added sugar, then yeah, don't do that. Sweeteners. But if the sweeteners are going to help you eat less added sugar and eat less food overall, like to not overconsume calories, then they're great. And I do feel that, like, when I drink like a sugar-free vitamin water every now and then, and I immediately am like, okay, I don't need to eat something sweet, or like whatever craving I have is like subsided. So I also get that with smoothies. So I go with the smoothies too, but.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. But generally, even in terms of artificial sweeteners on effects such as mortality, I haven't seen anything to suggest that just consuming more of it is, sort of detrimental. Maybe if I would recommend someone to not drink it if they don't like them, just for, precautionary principle. But there's nothing to, suggest that they are detrimental to health of strong nature, because you can always find outliers and stuff, or evidence which points different directions. It's about looking at the overall totality of evidence. And
yeah, I agree.
Right.
I think the reason why the carnivore diet is so effective for so many people is not because of the fact that they're eating more meat or that they're eating less carbs.
I can't wait. I'm truly on the edge of my seat.
But
I will add that for a lot of people, just eating, an elimination diet can help them potentially eat less calories, and then in, for example, type 2 diabetes remission, it's driven by weight loss. So that can help people with their, you know, the cardiometabolic, diabetes, you know, biomarkers. And then, less calories potentially, then potentially less sort of junk food, which we commonly think of. And Brandon, do you have any other ideas why people feel good on could be placebo effect?
On what?
well?
On carnivore diet?
Yeah. So less calories, placebo effect.
Placebo effect for sure. Also, because keep in mind, most people who do carnivore, they fill their brains with a lot of misinformation leading up to it. So they have all these expectations that, oh, this diet's going to be optimal for my health. This diet's going to lead me to cure all my ailments. I'm going to feel the brain fog will be lifted. I'm going to have less depression. So you have all these expectations. The second you go into it, you're going to feel great. But also, I agree. Probably you take out processed foods. So like I did I think his name's Lee, but he goes by Kent Carnivore. So he did a video. I reacted to his video where he was talking about how he cured his depression, right? Cured his depression. But then in a video with Sean Baker, he's talking about how first of all, he got his colon removed. That's very depressing and depressive. What am I saying? That can lead to feelings of depression for sure, because you're dealing with a major surgery. He was drinking. So he mentions in the video, he was doing multiple drinks in the evening. So he was drinking, he got his colon removed. He was struggling with, he said something else, I think something with sleep or something. But yeah, like there's so many things that can affect your mood or affect how you feel. And when he went carnivore, guess what you can't do on a carnivore diet? You can't drink, right? So he's taking out multiple things. He's eliminating multiple factors at once and just attributing it all to the carnivore diet.
Yeah, this reminds me of a interview I saw between, I think it was Carnivore Kid, somebody else. I don't know. I'm not very savvy in remembering all the carnivores. And some carnivore lady who said, so the tagline of the interview was that she put herself in remission from cancer, from bowel cancer. And then in the first minutes of the fucking interview, she says she underwent surgery, she underwent chemotherapy. Like, it blows my fucking mind. How can you say that you're in remission from cancer when you underwent so many treatments which would put you in a remission of cancer? And then you went on a stupid meme diet and you attribute everything to that.
It's very, very misleading. And again, like some things are going to have longer effects, like cocaine. Right? I hear that when you do cocaine, you feel like a superhero, okay? For a little bit, and then you drop down and you can get dependent on it. It has a lot worse long-term health outcomes than it does acute, like positive feelings or positive effects. So same thing with the diet, it might just take a little longer. In his case, it took probably 1.5 years, right? By the time he figured, everything, he figured it out. He still did it for probably another 6 months, but, so there's no telling as to, when we're dealing with like human psychology also, it's just so complex. Like there's really no telling how powerful the mind can be.
Yeah, and something I also like to add is that some people may have an intolerance to something specific. And then when you just only eat one specific food product, it can help you sort of eliminate the foods causing the issue, rather than seeing a dietitian who can sort of do tests on you to try and identify what's causing the discomfort. And then there's some research which actually suggests when you're for a prolonged time not eating certain foods, it can be difficult to actually introduce them back in after a while.
Yeah, that's the case with gluten, isn't it? That if you abstain from gluten for a while, you actually develop like a gluten intolerance or something. I read that somewhere. Did I read something stupid?
I haven't seen this. I'll need to take a look into this, but yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask because with people like obsessed with elimination, so like let's say you have a food intolerance, right? And carnivore diet's one elimination diet, right? We just eat steak. But how do you feel about somebody doing an elimination diet eating just like white potatoes? So like if like hypothetically, couldn't somebody just eat white, like skinless white potatoes, so low fiber, low, whatever. Let's say a lot of people aren't allergic to potatoes. So they're just eating white potatoes for a week. Wouldn't that achieve like a desired effect?
So there's this type of diet. It's called the low FODMAP diet. So FODMAPs, they're fermentable carbohydrates, and they include things such as lactose, oligosaccharides from beans and stuff like this. So there is a sort of similar sort of diet in this direction where you only eat things which cannot be fermented in the gut. And then after a few weeks of your symptoms going down, you then add in you go through different phases of adding in the different types of fermentable carbohydrates, and you try and identify which group is causing the issue. And this is,
you see, like that's the thing, is like everyone's always like, well, I was experiencing these, so I went on this elimination diet, it cured me. It's like, you didn't have to kill animals for that. You didn't have to pay for the exploitation of animals. You could have either done a low FODMAP diet, or just, if you're that desperate, eat nothing but skinless potatoes for 1 week and then start introducing different foods. Like, I feel like people, they just jump ship too quickly. Like, find another solution.
To be fair, to be too fair, I think the vegan FODMAP diet is horrifically a low FODMAP diet. Basically like 10 foods, which, yeah, I think that could be done, but to an omnivore, that might seem like a overly limiting task, wouldn't it?
I know, but the carnivore diet is, well, the way that people traditionally do it is just steak. So like, at least with FODMAPs, you get 10 foods. With the carnivore, it's like you just eat steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, maybe some butter. That sounds miserable to me, but I don't know. Maybe people love steak and butter more than I do, and that's why I don't get it. I don't know.
Oh man, I used to legendarily love meat. I mean, my friends still tell tales about it. How
Really?
much I love the meat.
So because I come from a background, I stopped eating red meat and most meat in general when I was freshman year in high school. So when I was like 15, I just wasn't into it. I ate chicken and stuff for protein because I was in the gym and stuff. But so were you like a big meat eater before you went vegan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool to hear from somebody, because that's not my background.
yeah, I was more chicken nuggets and fish fingers, as I said
That food
before.
wouldn't even cross my mind to eat that kind of food. I don't think I ever ate a chicken nugget.
But back to what we were talking about. Ideally, instead of someone just experimenting, they should go see an expert,
Yeah.
because people are not qualified to sort of do experiments on themselves.
Again, to be very charitable, but actually like to be cautious. Some people call themselves experts. They give terrible advice, especially in the dietary world, especially registered dietitians, frankly. And sometimes people substitute in the mind nutritionists, and they give them way too much clout, because themselves way too much clout. And those people have terrible advice, in my experience.
Yeah, so nutritionists, normally they cannot become a registered dietitian. You have to do a special course in dietetics. So nutritionists, normally they know more about how to read the literature, and analyze epidemiology. So yeah, got a point on that one.
Yeah, I work in a hospital, and sometimes part of my job is to go into the files of people, and all the people who work in the dietary office, they are registered dietitians in the hospital. Obviously, their advice is A, terrible, and B, like linear to everybody, is the fucking same. Eggs and cheese and low fat meat, basically. Okay.
So there's always, maybe where you are, there's lots of bad or sort of dietitians who you don't think are that great, but I don't know. I would like to give people the benefit of the doubt and hope that they're, but I guess people should probably visit a vegan dietitian.
Yeah, it's definitely better to visit some kind of, at least somebody who's educated on nutrition versus just you going on YouTube videos. So at least, you know, maybe even if you get a bad nutritionist, a bad registered dietitian, it usually will be better than going on an all meat diet. So that's definitely going to save you something there.
Yeah, I think you got a point there, Brent.
But I appreciate for some people it might be difficult. They might not have the opportunity. Yeah, I don't know where you guys are. If it's expensive would it be expensive where you two are to find a dietitian?
I
mean, we
it-
don't have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know. Yeah, because in the U.S. we have private healthcare typically. Like not many things are covered. So yeah, you pretty much have to pay for everything. So I would say there are a lot of great services online. Like if you are really struggling, you do have to pay for help. But I think depending on your situation, it's worth it. Like typically if you're worried about your health and you're willing to buy grass-fed beef to fix it, you have the money for a dietitian appointment or a nutritionist or some type of consultation. Because we're not talking about people in poverty who are eating fast food, who could care less and have 3 kids to take care of, right? We're talking about people who are going to buy the highest, most costly grass-fed meat there is to try and fix their ailments. So
with amazing studios to record their story.
Right.
Yeah, here we do have universal healthcare. Everything costs, but incredibly subsidized. But the waiting list to, like, say, a NRD, first of all, if you're not obese, you cannot get there. But I found out if you're vegan, you might. Because people are still very, or at least the healthcare providers are still a little bit cautious about vegan diets. So I was actually was able to get not an appointment because I never made it because I took out my tooth and took some antibiotics and whatever problems I had just went away. But I could have, and it wouldn't cost me that much. The problem is finding someone that is actually qualified and isn't anti-vegan. That would be my problem. And I did find one, but then I fixed my problems other ways. Yeah.
Of the fact that they're eating more meat or that they're eating less carbs, but they're eating less toxins. I mean, meat is incredibly nutritious. It is the most important part of the human diet by far.
Sorry, Patrick, do you know what is usually meant by toxins?
It's for the carnivore community, it seems like they're mostly talking about anti-nutrients or pesticides on crops. But yeah, meat also contains microplastics, and animals also eat what vegans are eating. So
yeah, meat is also a fucking body. So it contains all kinds of stuff.
There was a recent paper I saw. It was to do with microplastics, and tofu, for example, is extremely low on microplastics. And yeah.
Interesting.
No doubt about it. However, when you take out carbohydrates, you are not seeing a benefit because you don't have sugar anymore. You're seeing a benefit because you took off a bunch of garbage. Now, between the 3 macronutrients, we have fats, proteins, and carbs. The industrialization of food, okay, in other words, food becoming more centralized, less small farms, more large agriculture, more glyphosate, things of that nature. The industrialization of food was most problematic for carbs. Why is that? Well, let's take an animal, let's take a cow.
Was it? Was it? More problematic for carbs. The industrialization of food.
He's just saying stuff. I don't even know if he's going to go back to his divine force claim either. Like, I think he's just spewing whatever is coming to his mind. There's no evidence for that. I don't know what he's even means. I think he's going to explain what he means, but I I have a lot of doubt that it's going to make any sense.
Frankly, I'm coming kind of to my end of listening to him. I appreciate the conversation with you guys, but I don't know if we should continue for too long. This fella. What do you say?
So we can wrap it up. You mentioned glyphosate. So again, I've got a few comprehensive. Well, I've seen quite a good paper on glyphosate and cancer risk, and there wasn't really sort of any strong link found and no associations really. So
I don't know if you guys want to skim through it, because I just want to hear his God claim. That's all. I just want to know if he goes back to that, because he's just going to mention that his whole reason for not being carnivore is that he knows what he knows now, and he's just not going to come back to that. Like, he's not going to tell us what he knows. I'm confused.
We can watch in 2x speed.
Yep.
You feed a cow pesticide-sprayed grains, it's going to be able to get rid of some of that. It's not all going to assimilate into tissues. Some of it, yes, you're going to get some pesticide. But cows also are ruminants. They have 4 stomachs. They can filter all that shit.
No, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't understand anything he says. Jesus Christ.
You feed a cow pesticide-sprayed grains, it's going to be able to get rid of some of that. It's not all going to assimilate into tissues. Some of it, yes, you're going to get some pesticide. But cows also are ruminants. They have 4 stomachs. They can filter all that shit out. Humans...
What? Do we have any evidence for that? That cows can filter through pesticides?
So again, no evidence, just like with the glyphosate, he didn't provide any evidence, and yeah.
Not so much. So when you have your carbs, your fats, your proteins, the fats and proteins obviously being prevalent in the animal foods, well, what do we have going on here? We have fats and proteins that are then filtering out a bunch of pesticide much better than humans are. Whereas with carbohydrates, we're going direct to the source of toxins.
Yeah, just nonsense. No evidence. Let's just play it. There's nothing to refute here, because he's not saying anything.
That came as a product.
But he's the pioneer. He's the pioneer as well.
Plants have more. Fruits, bananas, honeys, starches, grains, all these things are super high poison when grown industrially. That's the problem, guys. It's the fact that we have all of these plant foods that are grown in such a toxic manner, and so now all of a sudden when you remove them, you're way healthier because your body isn't being given toxins anymore. Sure, it's a little bit more stressed out. It has to now produce sugar from nothing, from proteins. However, it's a lot better off to be a little bit more stressed out, a little bit higher cortisol maybe, with less toxins, than it is to have more toxins and have that little lower stress response from the presence of carbohydrates. Now, this is my theory. This is what I believe to be true. And again, none of us know the answer for sure.
Oh my God! None of us knows the answer from the mouths of babes. in case of a carnivore diet, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the answer 100%, but based on the evidence we have, there's pretty strong associations. I mean, we can make a pretty good guess, like a pretty good educated inference.
So the whole of science is associations, and even, thermodynamics, it's all from experiments. So everything's just based on models and predicting things, like if you were to do something, would it be replicated? And that's all we're doing. We just know with a high degree of certainty that, more plant-based diets will be more beneficial for health. And yeah.
Well, in my chat, Leon Kutzra says, I don't know the answer, so I know no one else does. Their point.
Right. And they have these high standards, like for everything else, like they don't do the same thing with like the theory of gravity, or they don't do the same thing with any other type of science. It's just with nutrition. They say, oh no, we don't know 110% for sure, so we don't know anything. It's like, that's not true at all.
Yeah, we don't have isolated in from birth to death stuff.
Right.
But there's not a single answer for everyone either, right? We know for sure that the best diet for people, regardless of what your macronutrient breakdown is going to be local foods. You want to eat local foods. You don't want to eat New Zealand lamb if you're in Idaho, right? You don't want to eat Costa Rica bananas if you're in Pennsylvania.
If you're an agency...
Like, why the fuck not? I mean, does a banana in Pennsylvania all of a sudden becomes not healthy or something? I don't understand.
I'm about to make your life a whole lot better. Let's decrease your workload by generating images with AI.
You don't want to eat bananas if you're in London either. Like, these are very simple principles that people want to follow. Eat local foods, right? If it's just meat, it's just meat. But if it's plants, eat local plants. And this is the real remedy. It's eating local organic foods. It's not basing your diet off of a particular macronutrient ratio. And my great grandmother, she lived so long, and then the reason why I believe she lived so long is because, well, she grew up in New York, and from a young age, they ate lots of sweets. Yeah, they ate breads, candies, not candies, but like breads, cakes, cheesecakes, all that stuff. But what are they using for it, right? What are they using for bread? They're using the yeast, the organic. Everything is organic. It's organic flours, organic. So everything is organic, and it's high quality mineralized soils that are providing the.
That's actually true. Everything used to be organic in the times of his grandmother. Supposedly, like, I don't know, like 1890. Less, he's very young.
I can't imagine that would have been the case. Just speculation. I don't know the research, but I can't imagine that the standards would have been better back then. Like there's probably way more cross contamination, probably way looser standards. At least we know that for a fact with meat packing, right? There was that whole thing where there was there was a book based on it. I forgot the book. But it was a whole book about how horrific the meatpacking industry was in like I think the early 1900s or something, right? Or the 1800s. So yeah, I don't know how. I would guess not.
Yeah, just by the fact that we have more regulation.
Actual raw products. Whereas today, you eat a loaf of bread, you're getting folic acid, which is going to completely poison you. Okay, you're getting a bunch of added preservatives. You're getting inorganic grain, which is known to be insanely toxic due to the high glyphosate content. You're really setting yourself up for failure. But if you eat it back when it was healthy for you, it's not going to mess it up because this is food that is just food. It's just from the earth. It's nature. It doesn't have any additives. It doesn't have any pesticides. Nowadays, when you take out all the plant foods and you just eat Costco or Walmart ground beef, you're eating a lower toxic load. But if you bring in back the organic sourdough, you bring back in whatever organic grains and oats and things that you like, potatoes, rice, whatever you like that's local to you, you don't get sick from that. You actually improve your health because now your body isn't stressed out anymore. And again, just quickly back to my great-grandmother. So she grew up eating all these high-quality foods, tons and tons of meats. They ate lots of brains and thyroids and stuff around the bones. They were great cooks, livers, like all that stuff. And that's what she ate throughout her entire life. And even as food started to become worse, and at the grocery store they start to inject the meat with more garbage and they do more bad stuff to the meat, she's still going to the farmer's market. And pretty much up to the point she died, she would walk from kind of the Westwood area into Santa Monica with her cart, fill up her cart.
No, I can't believe she died. They didn't live forever. Amazing diet.
At the Westwood or at the Santa Monica farmers market on Wednesdays, which is there like every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 1. She would go do that. She would go back home on a cart, and she would only eat that food. She wasn't eating grocery store garbage.
And also, sorry, just to interject. Also, she was walking a ton. So he just said she's walking to the farmer's market, walking back. What do we do less and less of every single year? Walk, exercise. So it's not just the lack of glyphosate. It's also probably less exercise in people nowadays.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
less
and the
pollution.
Yeah, and the glyphosate, he still hasn't provided any evidence for that claim. And I like the mention of sourdough bread, though. I'm a big fan of sourdough bread.
Me too.
Flavor, or does it have actually added?
The texture is quite nice. I like the texture of it.
Yeah, Patrick doesn't go off of the science. He only eats based on feel, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Long time because intuitively she knew, well, I want to eat the food that I was eating when I was a little girl, when I was younger. Yeah, she ate cakes. Yeah, she made breads. But it was the highest quality stuff that's not poisonous. High quality food from the earth, if it's around you, is not going to be poisonous to your body. And I think this is the biggest.
High quality food from the earth is not going to be poisonous to your body. I'm sure that it's possible to find something from the earth that will kill you.
Yeah, I guess I would need to expand on his, because high quality food, anything could be food. Any type of plant or animal doesn't mean they're not poisonous. And also,
again, I would say charitably.
Yeah.
And by food.
I don't hold charity for anybody. Okay, I'm here to get down to business. But also,
listen, I made the promise at the beginning of the stream. We're gonna try to be charitable. I broke that promise many times, but I'm holding you accountable.
Fair enough. Thank you. And also the cakes. So like, here's the thing: I don't care how organic it is, a bunch of added sugar is just not going to be beneficial for your health. It's just empty calories. So, right, Patrick? Would you say?
Yeah,
that?
like if someone's overeating, the most, just a cake made from a few ingredients and just a load of sugar, that might not be the best for health. If it's just 15 or 100 tablespoons of sugar, which is from very minimal processing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's full organic. If that's all you're eating,
Yeah,
you're
if you-
missing a lot of things there.
If you're just eating sugar, yeah, it's not going to be some elixir to optimal health.
Yeah, I have to add a tangent. Whenever I'm doing American creator, I have the amount of sugar and it's. I don't know what's going on there in America, but do you guys eat something that I think can be classified as a shit ton?
Cap'n Crunch. I'm telling you, when you have a chance, I'm telling you, it's just all sugar, and it's sugar and corn, and it's so good. But yeah, a lot of sugar over here for sure.
But I'd like to add that basically anything can be part of a healthy diet. So if you enjoy Captain how do you say Cap'n Crunch, yeah, it can be part of a healthy diet.
That's true. No, that's a great point. Like, it really is about making it work for you. And I think that's what people, also a lot of people who go plant-based, they like forget that it's important to do what works for you. Like, for example, I'll give you a great example. So I've been trying to figure out, because I like to eat foods consistently because I've got a busy schedule. If I have to think about what I'm eating, I'm just going to eat junk, right? So, like, if I have to cook something that has all of the best vegetables, the best beans, everything every single week, guess what? That doesn't work for my schedule. So then I end up eating, a bowl of cereal instead of legumes, or I end up eating, like something that I would be worse off, something, instead of eating the better thing, I end up eating the cereal, right? But if I were to just find a meal that has some good stuff like legumes or something that works for me and my schedule, that's better than eating the best thing available. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying, Patrick?
Yeah, so I only eat canned beans, for example. I never cook my beans.
I
But
obsessively cook my beans.
You what, sorry?
I obsessively cook my. I don't like the beans from a can. I mean, they're delicious, but they make my tummy hurt.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's about like consistency, and it's better to eat what works for you, even if that includes, some added sugar, even that includes whatever, than to try and be a purist and eat only raw fruits and vegetables and then end up abandoning it, or end up doing something worse off for your health anyway.
I like the idea of consistency. So similar sort of meals is also good for people. It can be good for people to sort of have some sort of routine. For example, I have a similar structure of meals every day with minimal cooking.
Yeah, I need it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna cook pancakes every day. I'm just gonna go off the rails,
Lesson that I've learned on carnivore. Again, not to bash the diet or bash anyone who's doing it. I think it's a part of the journey, and I also think that when you immerse yourself in a very cult-like environment, like carnivore, where everyone has like the cult leaders, like the YouTubers who are doing.
Oh my God!
Wow.
The admission of a century that the
Carnivore is a cult.
Community is a cult. Oh.
Crazy.
If we ever become ex-vegans, are we also gonna call it a cult? My question, because I was questioned on our endeavor through the bite model. How can we go through veganism while being vegan ourselves?
If I ever become ex-vegan, something is very, very wrong. And I encourage you guys to call my loved ones and get me admitted somewhere, because I've been plant-based almost 7 years, vegan almost 7 years, actually this month. And I just can't imagine, like, I eat like I've been eating well for this entire time. So I just can't imagine going off the rails like that. I just don't know. But
I think now that I know the bite model, I'll need to somehow, same as you, Brandon, there was something will be going completely wrong, but I would have to have found some flaws in the bite model, because right now in our first episodes, veganism is getting really no applies to all the different points we're seeing in the model. Yeah,
I was actually surprised by how much have a correlation. But we'll see at the end. I don't want to speculate. In fact, I'm scared of speculating. Feel convinced that it's not cold.
By the way, Brandon, you
Most
mentioned pancakes. I wanted to ask, do you have a good recipe for pancakes?
No. So usually what I'll do is there's two things. I'll either get a pre-made pancake mix, but it's I don't know if you guys don't have Bob's Red Mill over there, right? So it's just really they actually have really good pre-made stuff. So they have like a 7-grain pancake mix. So high fiber, high protein. It's got like a ton of different grains in it. So I'll usually either buy that or I'll just find like a vegan pancake recipe on Google and I'll just use whatever the best one comes up as.
What do you normally use as a binder?
Good question. Soy milk. So I use soy milk and then I use applesauce. So I find the applesauce and the soy milk are great substitutes. I usually don't add oil. If I do, it's like maybe a little bit of like light olive oil or maybe a little bit of canola oil or something. And that's it. And then flour or whatever flour I want to use, and that's it.
Unfortunately, I've not seen any of these vegan pancake mixes where I am.
You gotta look. I'm sure, once you move where you're headed, you'll find more. But yeah, it's really convenient and they're really good.
I rarely buy shit like pre-mixed. I don't think there is or any kind of a pancake. I've seen one. That might be not certain.
There is so much pre-made stuff here. Pretty much everything is pre-made in the United States. And as like, I don't want to say as sad as that is, it's also really awesome because there's a lot of great vegan, like Patrick likes to say, health promoting pre-made or processed foods that you just wouldn't get otherwise. And it's really for like a full year and a half, I lived off of like a really good vegan ramen that I just made in the microwave. But it was high protein, high fiber, low sodium. It was great. So that's really convenient.
Patrick, does he ever get back to God?
From what I remember, I don't think so.
So is there a point in continuing? I am getting a little tired.
Okay, yeah, if you guys are done, I'm done then. I will concede. But that's just crazy how he mentioned it. Like that was his whole awakening and then just never talks about it ever again.
If you want, we can just skip to the last minute and see if there's any mention.
Probably really shocking to a lot of you, this idea that you can actually consume sugar and still be healthy, when there was this whole idea that no, the reason why we're sick is because of sugar, refined grains, seed oils. Seed oils and sugar are not in the same category. These sugar and seed oils are not the same thing. They're very different. Seed oils are processed
He's still anti-seed oil. That's interesting.
and refined and toxic. Sugar is not toxic. Sugar is a plant that's hardly processed, and you can get unprocessed sugar, unrefined sugar as well. It's organic. So this is kind of the conclusion that I've come to. I'll do what I eat in a day videos if you guys want, and I'm more than happy to do that and go over that stuff. But I'm seeing a lot of people wake up. A lot of people start to incorporate plants back, kind of following Paul Saladino, who's right on a lot of things, but he also believes in evolution, which is ridiculous. But that's kind of, yeah, like I'll make more videos on this stuff if you guys want. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it makes sense. And let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns. And yeah, see you in the next one.
When he says sugar, I'm just confused. Is he saying like sugar cane, like granulated sugar, or is he referring to carbs? Because at the end there, he said you could get unrefined sugar. It sounds like he's talking about literal sugar and not just carbs anymore. So I'm confused by that.
Sugar is minimally processed.
Yeah, and also because earlier he was talking about carbs, but then now at the end he sounds like he's talking about sugar, and then he doesn't give any argument for why evolution is ridiculous. He just says it's ridiculous, which I find amusing.
I have nothing to add, guys. I have nothing to
That's
add.
just too good.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the video, but I did enjoy the company. So I really appreciate Endeavor. So thank you.
I think we offered lots of insights here. Unfortunately, nothing about ethics in the video, just about personal stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, thanks everyone for joining in. If you've got
Thank
any
you,
sort
everybody.
of, if you've got any recommendations for stuff you'd like us to react to in the future video, definitely send it in. We're open to everything, and preferably something which has potentially some citations in the video so we can check it.
Not gonna happen, Patrick. Only
links.
only videos with no citations are what the carnivores produce.
And then, yeah, we'll be back
Alright.
on Tuesday for the next episodes of the Bytes model. So guys, definitely say I'm gonna schedule the video a bit later. I'm not sure if you have post-mortem. Is your video already scheduled, right?
Yes.
People can click save. So watch. What do they click exactly? I forgot. Is it watch later or just
notify me.
Notify me.
So in my chat, so people can go to mine, and you'll later when my co-hosts schedule their lives, I will put the links in the description. Guys, thank you.
Thanks,
very much.
guys. See you later.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.